Jazz is a music genre that pulls anyone towards itself. I'm Tanusha, and today at Frontlist we have Ashis Ghatak, who has wonderfully portrayed Banks' musical life through his book Louiz Banks, A Symphony of Love. Ashis teaches English at a government-aided school in Kolkata. He has been a film and a music enthusiast, a photographer, and an avid traveler. So we are happy to have you with us today.
Thank you.
So, sir, when did you come up with the idea that you wanted to write about jazz? Do you have some historical background related to jazz?
See, frankly speaking, I did not have any background of writing on jazz because as you know me, that I am a school teacher here, and I have got a very good penchant for music and writing on music or writing on anything, like whatever I love, like travel books and all like that. But see, I am associated with one R.D. Burman Foundation in Calcutta, and the name of the foundation is UFUN. And the main USP of our foundation is that we bring all the R.D. Burman original players in our show.
Okay.
And they come and perform on stage. And Louis Banks, he was one of the key players of R.D. Burman, who played for R.D. Burman for 12, 13 years. And so when Louis Banks came and played for us, I talked to him, and then I started reading on him. Then I found that he is not only a jazz man, but he has got a wide range of work, starting from jazz. He was the pioneer of jazz, but he had a huge range of work, like he made music for the advertisement jingles. Then he was the pioneer of Indo-jazz fusion music, then film music of R.D. Burman, and so many musicals. So not just the jazz, but definitely he is known as jazz man, surely. So in that way, I was hooked into it, but I did not have any background of jazz, as you can refer.
Okay, so you wrote this very engaging biography which covers all the aspects of his life journey. So how long did it take you to write this book?
Yeah, it took quite a bit time, and I think I started reading on him 2016, 2017, yeah. I started reading and studying on him. And then writing and then editing and then re-editing to bring a final product. It took almost more than 4 years, at least 4 years or 4.5 years. Yeah, it's a long journey.
So for writing Louiz Banks' biography, you traveled a lot with her. So therefore, can you tell us something about your journey and obstacles that you faced?
Yeah, that is a very interesting part, definitely. So literally in this last 4 years, I lived his life. You can say that I lived the life of Louis Banks. It was definitely something of a vicarious pleasure. So through his life's journey, I also led his life. So in that way, see, his life was started in Darjeeling. So his life was started in Darjeeling, and when I started exploring things about the time that he passed in Darjeeling, that was pretty interesting because, see, I did not have much people. I didn't have the information of many people there in Darjeeling. But, I started, it was like that I went to Kalimpong, Karshan radio station, for example. There I met somebody from whom I got to know about some person, a hotelier, an old hotelier. So I met him there. From him, I got to know of some other person who has been almost like a student at that time in the school where Louis Banks was a faculty member. So in that way, it expanded from one person to other, from that person to another. So in that way, my journey of Darjeeling, particularly Darjeeling, was very interesting, almost like a spy thriller, that from one person zeroing in another person. And in that way, it was a great journey there. And also in Bombay and in Calcutta, I didn't have any idea that in our city, there were so great people living there. And I didn't have any connection before I started writing on this. So surely it has been a great journey, not only of writing and reading on him, but also meeting so many great people in Darjeeling, in Bombay, in Goa, and also in my city. So surely it was a very interesting, very cherished journey on my part also.
So you say that you've lived like Louis Banks' life as well with him. So can you share any favorite quote of Louis Banks that is your favorite, and what distinct quality do you like about him?
Yeah, see, it's difficult to find out one quote because I interviewed him so many times over phone, WhatsApp. I went to his home, and as I told you before, that he came to our show also. So, but Tanisha, what the most, if I answer you the second question before that, that he is the torchbearer of jazz movement, and somebody said that if you want to be a beggar, then follow jazz. So the jazz man are the people who can be the beggar. So you can understand that jazz and monetary prosperity, they two do not go together. Here is, I will answer your first question, that he said that your music or the art that you follow and money, they should not go together. If you pursue after monetary pleasure, then don't follow your art. If you mix this, if you blend this, then that is definitely going to fall apart. If not today, tomorrow for sure. That is something which I really, and now the person is now 80-year-old. From the very beginning of his life till today, he has been such a steadfast follower or apostle of jazz, overlooking all the monetary aspects. Yeah, money did come because he was such a successful person in everything that he did. Automatically money will come. But if you follow that way, if you keep that motivation in front of you, then as Mr. Banks told everyone or advised everyone, things will fall apart. So that is perhaps the most attractive thing in his character that I like most. Yeah.
Okay. So basically, it's like following your passion, but monetizing it later on. Like, don't think about that.
Yeah, it will automatically come, but that should not be the motivation. Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, what drew you to the jazz genre, and anything special you would like to share with us?
Please repeat once more, please.
So basically, I'm asking this: what drew you to the jazz genre? What actually fascinated you to this jazz genre?
Acha, okay. See, when I started writing on him, naturally, if I say that I don't have any background of jazz, then it will be impossible to cover him, right? Because he is primarily a jazz person. And about myself, I can tell you that I was always hooked to this mainstream music, R.D. Burman, Nasha Vosley, Kishore Kumar, or from the western side, that Jim Reeves, John Denver. So that was the music with which I grew up. But when I talked to Mr. Banks and when I talked to his son, Gino Banks, they literally exposed me to a huge ocean of music. Jazz is something which is very difficult to, you just put on the jazz record or jazz cassette or whatever, and you are liking it. Is not like that. So it literally takes time. And this present generation, if you don't have the family background of listening to jazz, if your father, if your mother doesn't listen to jazz, if you didn't grow up with jazz, it is very difficult to suddenly fall in love with jazz. But when I started listening to it, I found the scope of jazz, the vastness of jazz is immense. It is just equivalent to Indian classical music, you know. So the improvisation part, or when you are just hooked, one thing is for sure, that you cannot keep a jazz album going on at the background and you are working. You can't do it. So you need to devote a complete concentration. And now, if once you feel that jazz is your cup of tea, then definitely you will feel that it has got an immense vastness of listening to it. It's the most liberating kind of music. And thanks to Louis Banks, thanks to Gino Banks, his son, now, I'm a big fan of jazz music, of course, yeah.
This might be a little bit difficult to answer, but since you were writing this book, what chapter did you like writing a lot?
Yeah, surely it's difficult because when I started writing the chapter, I did not know what chapter it will be. There are several chapters, but I think again I will mention two chapters. Particularly, I'll mention two chapters. First is surely the chapter, his childhood days in Darjeeling, because personally, I have got a strong emotional connect with that place. See, the West Bengal, the people who live in Bengal, they have got Darjeeling is very close to their heart. And now, when the subject of a biography passed a significant phase of his life, in fact, he grew up in Darjeeling. So at that time, I have heard the stories of Darjeeling from some other people. And now, when I started writing on that, I literally lived on that age. So definitely Darjeeling part is perhaps the most favorite chapter. It's coming second chapter of the book, where I just tried to find out how he grew up from a little boy to the young, his school life, then college life, then how he became the faculty and he entered in the music and he got introduced to his father's band and his life expanded. Secondly, definitely Calcutta, because Louis Banks played in Calcutta when I was in my half pants rather. So that is another part of my life when I heard about the 70s Calcutta, 70s Park Street. And whoever lived here in my city, whoever listened to the Western music of Calcutta, they always say that, Calcutta lost the sheen after 70s. In 80s, gradually everything fell apart. And that 70s, from 73 to 78, Louis Banks was in Blue Fox. And literally, I have been to Blue Fox maybe one or twice. After that, the restaurant got shut down rather. And that through the journey of Louis Banks, the 70s of Louis Banks, 70s Calcutta, literally I could come in contact with the people who were the musicians of that time, talking to them, talking to Louis Banks about that time and writing on that chapter, Calcutta Days. I also try to relive the feelings which I couldn't have because as I told you, I was under 10 at that time when Louis Banks used to play there. I loved writing the chapter of Calcutta also. So these two chapters I can single out.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. We actually have a bit of something to tell you about. It's a Delhi Book Fair. So, just let me.
Tell me.
Can you just hold on for a moment? So, Delhi Book Fair is an annual fair that has been going on since 26 years. I think you know about it. It's an annual property owned by Federation of Indian Publishers, which was held at Pragati Maidan in pre-COVID time. So since COVID has happened, it's all messed up right now. So all the avid book lovers and all the authors and publishers have been coming to Delhi Book Fair and they have a soft corner for that. So in 2020, actually, when COVID hit us, so we actually held this book fair, Delhi Book Fair, on the Pragati platform. It's a virtual event platform, and it was a huge international success actually, and it garnered over 2 lakh plus visitors, and went on to become the biggest virtual book fair globally.
Achha.
So the key highlights of Delhi Book Fair were there were 100 exhibitors, 2 lakh plus visitors, participation from 100 countries, 9,000 plus global attendees, 50 plus webinars, participation from renowned authors and industry people.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Great talking to you.